straight to public safety and Councilwoman Greenwood.
Ms. Bell, please call the roll to establish the Public Safety Committee.
Councilman Greenwood,
Present.
Councilman Mosley,
Present.
Councilman Dean,
Present.
Councilman Eastern,
Present.
Mayor Hicks.
Present.
We have 5 present.
Item 2, presentation of the minutes from the meeting held on Thursday, February 4th, 2016. I would like to make a motion to approve item 2.
Second.
On the question, Ms. Bell, please call for the roll.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Dean,
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Mayor Hicks.
Yes.
4 ayes, 1 nay.
Item 3, presentation of departmental reports. Item 3A, regulatory affairs business license applications. There are none at this present time. Item 3B, regulatory affairs monthly report for all fees collected. Item 3C, report from the East St. Louis Police Department. Item 3D, report from the East St. Louis Fire Department. Item 3E, report from the East St. Louis ESDA Department. I would like to make a motion to receive items 3B, C, D, and E.
Second.
On the question, Ms. Bell, please call the roll.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Dean,
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Mayor Hicks.
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 nay.
At this time, Chief, is Chief over there? No? Item 4, presentation of subcommittee reports. There are none. Item 5, presentation of ordinances and resolutions. Item 5A, an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 16-10008, regulating alarm systems within the city of East St. Louis. I would like to make a motion to approve item 5A.
Second.
On the question. Attorney Wagner.
Yes, this actually stems from an action you took last month. If you recall, in December, we passed an update to the alarm ordinance that had to be done in order to comply with state statute. Essentially, the change in that was the way in which the company that collects for the false alarms collects those fines. It was not, that contract was not compliant with state statute, and the language within our ordinance was not compliant with state statute, so we made that change. There was a cross of communications, and there was another ordinance that was brought before you because the company which we contract with regarding the collection of the alarms had called the city manager's office, and folks in the city manager's office didn't understand why we had made the change. So the rescission was improper. It should not have happened. What needs to happen is our ordinance needs to be in compliance with state statute. The contract with the collection company, what's the name of the collection company? Municipal Dynamics, is expired and needs to be renegotiated anyway. We've put them on notice that the contract actually is contrary to the statute as it stands currently, and they're aware of that. So essentially, we need to reinstitute the language which was passed by the council in December, as that is the proper language. So what you have before you is an ordinance rescinding the action taken by council last month, and you have another action affirming the ordinance from December of 2015.
No question.
Are there any other questions from council? Ms. Bell, please call the roll.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Dean,
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Mayor Hicks.
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 nay.
Item 5.
Pass.
Item 5B, an ordinance regulating alarm systems within the city of East St. Louis. I would like to make a motion to approve item 5B.
Second.
On the question, Ms. Bell, please call the roll.
Councilman Greenwood,
Yes.
Councilman Mosley,
Yes.
Councilman Dean,
Yes.
Councilman Eastern,
Yes.
Mayor Hicks.
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 nay.
Motion passes.
Item 6, presentation of correspondence and memorandum. There are none. Item 7, old business.
Madam Chair, I do have some old business.
Mayor.
I'd like for Xavier to come forward and give us just a brief update on what's going on with our PSAP. Just briefly, I know there's a lot that's going on with that. And the chief, I don't see the chief here, so step out. Chief and Xavier, could you come forward and update us on what's going on with the PSAP for our citizens, PSAP is public service access points. As you know, the state is now reducing our public service access points. The county of St. Clair has to reduce from 8 PSAPs to 4. And we are, as a city, trying to position ourselves to keep our PSAP system. So, Chief.
And that's pretty much where I was going to start with. Some of you all might know this has been going on for, I guess, the past 2 years. It's been 1 year, that in by 2017, the governor, he set forth in place, like the mayor just said, to reduce eventually the 911 centers to 1. Our department, we have our own 911 center. We're our own PSAP. But what they're working on is reducing it from 8 to 4 to 1. What we're looking at is keeping our own PSAP, keeping our own 911 system, and that's what we're in the process of doing right now. Because with our 911 system, we dispatch, as you know, our police department, we dispatch our fire department, we dispatch our emergency services. So what happens if we eventually do reduce to 1, where does that leave East St. Louis? If we reduce to 4, why does that leave East St. Louis? So one thing we're looking at is the ability to be able to take care of our own, because we have residents that's below the hill that we're responsible for. So that's why it's important that we do what we're doing now. As a matter of fact, I have with me, and you may not know this as well, Fairview Heights Police Department or Fallon Police Department along with Shiloh. They're looking at engaging and combining their 911 centers. So what they're doing is a feasibility study to look at the costs as far as equipment, look at the costs as far as employees, look at the costs as far as training. So those are things that we're looking at that we need to do now, because the main thing is it economically feasible for us to keep our 911 centers? However, we still have to look at the safety of our citizens.
And I would just like to add, as the chief said, you have Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, and Shiloh, and then there's some other communities that are actually partnering as well. When he spoke about the cost, how much it's going to cost us and everything like that. When we did our numbers, and those numbers are kind of changing, whether we go with the county or whether we keep our own PSAP, when it's all said and done, the numbers are going to kind of roughly be around the same dollar amount. But there are some other things that we as the city need to expend other costs to actually basically bring our system up to speed. So in 2017, they're going from 8 to 4 PSAPs. Eventually, they're going to actually go from 4 to 2 by 2019. So those are some of the things that we're kind of working out. We're still discussing internally what's going to be the best fit for the city of East St. Louis. But the consensus is that the city of East St. Louis wants to remain its own PSAP. We are talking with other communities and different things of that nature to see who wants to actually consolidate. But all of those things are under discussion as we speak.
I also want to add that in addition to the cost of what it's going to cost us to maintain our own PSAP, we're looking at the safety of our citizens. We have a high number of calls comparatively to the other communities. The state is also offering municipalities the option to waive consolidation based off of safety, for example, being an issue, especially when you have the high number of calls that we have as a community. One of the things that the council is going to have to look at is possibly paying for a feasibility study unless our staff is going to do it. We may have to do a feasibility study, regardless of whether we consolidate or we remain by ourselves. There's some work that we're going to have to do in order to get that done, and it's paramount that we get on that as soon as possible, because there are some deadlines that we have to meet as a city in submitting our plan, regardless of whether we stay by ourselves or we have an intergovernmental agreement with another municipality. We still have to submit a plan. So, City Manager.
Yes, Mayor. We have been meeting on the PSAP and the plan. Chief Blackman, Chief Hubbard, Xavier, Mr. Vincent. We've been meeting on that, and we've been looking at all of the alternatives. One thing that is true, regardless to what we do as far as remaining independent or joining another municipality, is the fact that we've got to get our generator replaced. And that has absolutely nothing, even though it's one of the requirements of remaining independent when it comes to the PSAP, we still have to have that generator in the event of an emergency like the 83 flood or the lights going out all over. We've got to be able to retain communication and visibility here within this building. So you're looking at over 200,000 just there in that. So
Where are we
consider
with
that
the-
also.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm gonna go to Councilwoman Hamilton Dean. Where are we with the cost estimation for the generators? I know we were looking at some generators. Okay.
200,000.
Is that for a new one or used?
New.
Okay, because I know we were looking at a used generator before, weren't we?
We were looking at a number of them, and they ranged anywhere from 30, which was actually for a used one there for 30,000, and it wasn't large enough. Didn't have enough capacity to do everything that needed to be done. It could only take care of a portion of City Hall. So we felt that in order to meet the needs, we needed the new one, and we needed one that we didn't have to restrict what it could cover, which was roughly around $212,000.
What's the timeline on a submittal to a proposal to the council so that we can move forward?
We actually probably need to discuss some other things about the entire process with the council. We can probably get an executive talk about in depth what's actually going on with the PSAPs, the plan, and other communications that we've had with the county and other parties. So just to kind of give you guys an update so you guys can be aware of everything that's been discussed, and then we can get some direction to where, you know, how we want to proceed with everything, all of the information that we get.
And also, the feasibility study here too, everybody have a copy of this because I think it's a good roadmap, so we'll see that we need to do.
Just in case we decide to consolidate, we do have to do a feasibility study. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
For an intergovernmental agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to bring this before council because this is an issue that's affecting all our surrounding municipalities. We have deadlines that we have to meet. It is something that staff has to get on right away. One of the things that I was asking is if our staff is going to be able to accommodate the application process, and also I know we have to do a feasibility study, so we may have to look at also some external technical assistance to go ahead and get this done as other municipalities have done. So we just need that to be coming before council with the deadline so the council can act accordingly.
I have a question. So you said that there are some cities that have already partnered.
Well, there's communication that Fairview, O'Fallon, and Shiloh, they're gonna actually combine Swansea is probably gonna go under Belleville, and you're only talking about 4. So that's one where Belleville is gonna remain a PSAP. CENTCOM is gonna remain a PSAP, and then we're the only one that's out there if there's gonna be a 4th PSAP.
So have they determined what the cost would be for those cities that are partnering?
We don't know those costs of those other communities, partner. We do know that the cost per call, if communities were to go with the county, would be roughly $10 per incident call. An incident call is for each call that actually goes out that's reported from the 911.
And also, in this study here, this is the actual final document of their study. And it has a cost for equipment, has a cost for their employees, training and nature, but it doesn't have a cost per call. Well, but actually, they wouldn't incur per call when they come together because they'll be dispatching themselves. So it's a difference with us.
I remember when someone came and did a briefing, they said that there would be no reimbursement for that city who is going to host. Is that still the case?
For us, that's what we're looking at now, because what happens is if we become a PSAP, and Benny can even explain further than me, we'll take on, what they're saying is we'll take on the calls with Washington Park, Arlington, Brooklyn, Centerville. And that's actually what they're doing at the ETSB now. They're dispatching for those agencies. But then the issue of them paying, that's one issue where we would have to actually, when we dispatch those calls, collect the monies from those municipalities.
Correct.
So
And with that being said, I just want to add on and that's the importance of really the consolidation part, because the county is overseeing the entire 911 system for this particular area under the state police. So the thing about it is that's why they're asking people to consolidate, and you have to. The only way that we can be accountable for dispatching those calls to those other communities is if you have a joint or intergovernmental agreement with those municipalities.
So the cost of the city will be about a little bit over $500K to bring our equipment up to code, correct? Or is it a little bit more?
Right.
Do we know?
Say that again?
Do we know?
No.
We haven't done a
No, to
feasibility
bring-
study.
Right.
There's two.
No, I think somebody had already did some research
No,
regarding.
to bring our system up to speed, you're talking about the generator, that's 200, and then you're talking about the consoles, which is right around, about $230,000.
For just the council?
The consoles and then the generator.
And this is price per console, that's for 4 consoles.
Yeah.
I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, I heard 500, so I
Well,
think
I thought it was more than
5 plus 2.
It was originally quoted to us at $150 per console. Chief Hubbard had another company to come in and get all of that information, and the cost came right in at right around $84,000 a
So
console.
does that encompass training as well?
I have on my desk now, this from Datatronics, and it includes the consoles, it includes the computer systems, and also in there is the training on the new system, because it'll be the new start time system.
Okay, so they'll be training the people, dispatchers.
I want to thank, do we have any more questions or comments from council?
I have a comment.
City manager?
Yes, because I think it's incumbent upon us to let you know what some of the uphill battles will be. One will be the communities that we are expecting to join with us have not been able to pay their share
Absolutely.
currently. Consequently, they've been cut off. So, I don't want us going into anything with any hopes and dreams that aren't real.
Councilman Mosley.
I'm listening. Mr. June was on that a few minutes ago. We had a study on this, and we know it was said, and I'm gonna hit on the head, we need too much repairs. $200,000+ for a generator. That's just a small amount. It's more in detail into that. Mayor, we can't afford it. Mr. Bennett, do we have money for that?
Currently, we don't have it in the budget.
We don't have any money, so we don't have it, is that right?
That's correct.
So, what, Mr. Mayor, don't tell me this. Ask them to give you a deadline. If it's next week, give you a deadline to see where we are before we lose out. The city manager just hit it on the head. The outside entities don't have no money, and we don't have no money. And we're playing with it now. 6 months from now, you'll come back and say, well, oh, here we go again. Let's stop playing with stuff and say, you do it or you don't do it. We can't, just because 5 or 6 of them want us to have it, and we can't afford it, we give it away and do the best we can. Fairview Heights and all them other towns, they have money. They come in together. They didn't ask us to come with them. They asked everybody else to come with. Why didn't they ask us to come? But we gonna get, she called the names. They don't have much money as we got. And you just said we don't have no money for it. The budget's been set. So let's not play with it. We're gonna do it or we're not gonna do it. You trying to pinch on it? She said right. $212 or $16,000 for a generator. We need it. We don't need no used generator. We need a new generator, and that's what it costs. Then you got other expenses. You gonna have employee expenses. You're gonna have expenses that you didn't even see. It's been told. June was right. We had to sit on this here. The big man come in here and sit down and told us about it. What we need to do, we need to get out of it and give it to the county. But we don't want to give up nothing because we don't have no money. Now, if you want to do it, I'm going to sit here and look. And I'm going to say, well, I told you so. I don't even want to say that. Mayor, if you want to get a deadline. Tell me, give me a deadline of what they want to do, and then let's look at it. Before the time is too late. Can you do that for me?
Councilman, I actually have asked for a deadline. I've been talking with this committee for about a month. And so what I need is for it to be wrapped up so that we as a council can make a good decision based off the information that needs to be presented to us. We don't need to be reactive in this situation. Every decision that we make needs to be based off of good information that's submitted to us. We cannot just jump just because it seems scary. Now, is there grant money being supplied for those who consolidate?
The way that the grant reads is that the grant is for municipalities outside of 500,000. It's under 500. Outside of under 500,000 population. But the way that the grant reads is it's kind of like putting those communities at a disadvantage because the grant is really for those communities who do not have 911 systems in their particular areas. So that's not just St. Clair County or
Right, I understand that. But what I'm specifically asking is for those municipalities that come together, will they be providing grant money for updating their?
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. Okay, so go ahead. So what we need is, first of all, we need good information. This council cannot make a decision when we don't have good information before us. I've asked for deadlines, we've been talking for a month. We're no further than where we were when we talked the first time. I can't move and I can't lead, and this council cannot make a decision without the information. So what we need to know is, when are we gonna have the information so that we can decide what we need to do? And then I'm gonna go to the city manager.
Mayor, it is my personal opinion that we need to concentrate on getting us a generator and going ahead and do what we had originally intended to do, which was joining the system, the 911 system they already have instituted at the county. Because otherwise, we're gonna be running around bumping our heads trying to find monies that we don't have. If we apply for a grant, the deadline with the county will have gone past and we'll still be trying to get a grant application. While we have the opportunity, we need to seize that opportunity. There is no guarantee that it's gonna go from 8 to 4 and 4 to 1. That's what they're
Right.
saying.
Exactly.
But it's all political, and in Springfield, it's Republican now. That doesn't mean that it's gonna remain a Republican governor until the 2019. So in the meantime, until we can see ourselves on much stabler ground than we're on right now, we need to concentrate on getting that generator that this building must have and go ahead and join the cooperative FD 911 system that's already in place.
Do we have any, Chief?
I just want to say before we move forward though, with the information that you have to be presented, and I think Randy left this out, we can't even apply for the grant or even apply for the consolidation plan if we don't have who we're consolidating with. Right. If we gotta have an agreement from the other surrounding communities, if it's Washington Park, Brooklyn, whomever, because on the application, we can't just put East St. Louis because what do you consolidate with?
Right.
East St. Louis can't consolidate with East St. Louis.
Right, and we do have communities that are interested in consolidating. Hear me when I say that, but if we don't have information from staff, we can't decide, we can't consolidate. So we have to get, whatever we're gonna do, we need the information from staff so that we can decide, okay, if we're doing an intergovernmental agreement, if we're waiving, if we're moving, but we need information, okay? All right. I have one last question. What's the name of the grant?
911 system consolidation grant. And I have the grant application.
Who's the funding
so I can
source?
forward it to you.
Who's the funding source?
Everything is under the Illinois State Police.
Item 8, new business.
Yes. Chief, what is the requirements of, I noticed that as the days get warmer, you see more and more of these, I guess, pop-up car washes on different lots and stuff like that, and I've been approached by different people saying that, get this moved, why these pop up, why these things popping up like on 58 and I think State Street. Yeah, they have like a whole system, and, I've been getting approached, if everybody in compliance with their fellows license, what is the procedure?
If they don't have any license, then we shut them down. We got to call the subjects on, 20th and State Street. They were washing cars, but they didn't have a license, so we shut them down. So if they out there washing cars, they don't have a license, have permission, because I don't know all the particulars, but I understand when you get that license, you have to get a location at your vehicle, is that correct? So if they don't have a license, then we shut them down. So if they
So how many are we, I guess the next question is, how many of those licenses are we going to issue?
From the perspective of regulatory affairs, it's just been under pellet license.
Okay.
So, I think that would be set from the council to say that we're gonna have X amount of pellet car washes, X amount at your discretion, then that stops us from issuing out the number of licenses that we need to issue out. But I know I've been brought to my attention, so we're planning on Saturdays or something to go out to make sure that everyone's in compliance, because there are some mom and pops are just doing it without the pellet license.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other new business? Citizens' comments. Ms. Dorothy Joshua.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and citizens. Okay, I came in a little late, so I'm not fully prepared, but it seems like to me, you all are talking about money. Eliminating the Board of Election, that's $400,000. If you really want to get down to getting some cash flow for the safety of the citizen, seem like that would be one area that it could easily be done up at the county for $60,000, and we spending $400,000 a year. So that's a no-brainer to me. And for the mayor, if the staff, if you give them a deadline and you don't have the information at hand, seem like to me they should be fired. That's the way it would happen on my job. If my boss gives me a deadline to get something done and I don't have it done, I won't have a job. So those are, all of this stuff that you all are back and forth about, it's not about the safety of the citizen, it's still more and more politics. And take the politics out. Citizens are leaving this city every day. We're losing almost 1,000 citizens a year. It's gonna be a village, but you all can't care because your salaries are high and you probably got some a place up in Florida where you can retire at and won't have to be dealing with this city anymore. And we're gonna be left here. And the only thing on the agenda that I see so far is the alarm system. Can you brief me on the alarm system? Because when we had the other mayor, the citizens had to pay $50, and when the citizens did not pay $50, a lot of home invasions occurred during that time, which made the citizens run back to the burglar alarm system to give the city $50 for having a burglar alarm. So can you tell me what's different than you all rescinding that, and can you kind of explain that to me, because I've seen the ordinance and I can't understand it.
I don't know if we went over the fees in this ordinance, but the attorney can speak to what was the changes in the ordinance this week. Attorney Wagner.
The change was the ordinance that was passed in December changed the way that our contractor collects the false alarm fees to make it compliant with state statute. That ordinance was inadvertently rescinded last month, and so we just reversed that action. So we now have our ordinances compliant with state statute as far as the collection of the fines are concerned.
Thank you.
Mr. Mike Marta. Miss Lily Butler. And I think Miss Williams, did you have a comment?
Yes, Madam Councilwoman, and Madam Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see Miss Butler. Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Guess I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm here about our streets.
Public safety.
Hello?
This
This public safety.
Public safety, everyone is concerned. Public safety is a concern of each committee, right?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to find out, I guess you can't move the streets unless you have funds. So I want to know, do you have any money in public safety to help fix the streets and flooding? That's safety when the kids coming through the water and everything, so that's public safety matter. And so I want to know the funding first, and then I can see about getting the streets.
Okay. Madam City Manager.
Yes, Ms. Greenwood, unfortunately at this time, we are trying to find some money for emergencies that we have already. Remember now, the budget we're operating under right now is a budget that you all approved last year, okay? Consequently, those items that you're anticipating for next year will have to be approved for this year. What happens to us is every year we're having streets to collapse that may not be in the budget, but ultimately winds up an emergency and we have to repair them. Not long ago we had a street in the South End that almost swallowed a car. So when those things like that crop up, of course we have to put public safety first. And that's where we are, Ms. Butler. Unless Donald Trump or someone comes in and gives us an influx of cash.
Well, in my neighborhood, the street caved in and has swallowed several cars.
I remember you
including-
mentioning that.
Yeah, including last year when it swallowed a bomb pop truck. So, I mean, it's been going on, but I see streets that are not in the condition that we're in. Our streets have not been repaired in about 40 years. And I see a lot of streets, since my street's been caving in, has been repaired. I mean, they might cave in, but, you know, we got a priority we should have because we have never got the whole neighborhood streets repaired. Never. I've been over there 26 years and I never seen anybody, but the streets that caved in where it swallowed the cars.
Well, that's what I have seen the last 2 to 3 public works directors make priority. Those areas are those areas that pose a threat to the general public. And both Mr. Walker and Mr. Mosley, in my opinion only, did a good job because they responded to complaints. At least when I called about the situations, and I'm sure some of you may not have any complaints about that. Our biggest complaint is money. One thing you have to understand, in this community, people who are working every day, the majority of them don't live in this community.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Even on our staff.
I agree.
Okay? Secondly, we have a lot of seniors in this community who don't pay taxes anymore. And God knows they paid taxes long enough, but the fact that they don't pay taxes now, but they require services, that's still another thorn, for lack of a better word, because they certainly are loved. But we've got to find a way to bring more tax money in here to address our needs. It just won't fall out of the sky.
Thank you.
So the answer is no money. No, nothing. The answer is no money, no funds to do the streets. So if I go through this whole city council, each person will say the same thing.
Well, now what we
Mr. City
can do,
Manager.
Ms. Butler, you know, every time you come, I've tried to address whatever your concern was,
certainly have.
and anyone else that has come. I've tried to address it, but, you know, if it's not there, you just can't get it.
So at least what you're saying, if you had the funds or if you got the funds, you will be over there making a priority over there.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You
ma'am.
all about witnesses.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I know that you had some issues out there, and I remember when the vehicles were falling in your streets.
Yeah.
We just finished, I think it was 58th Street.
55th Street, 55th
Okay.
Street, on the corner of 55th
So
Street.
it's not like you've been forgotten, you haven't been forgotten.
I don't think they're not completely finished with that though.
Okay.
On 55th Street.
But as money come in, we'll address those areas that we can. And we wish we could do the whole city.
Right.
Whole city don't need really doing no more. We really do need doing all that.
85% of it
We got
does.
streets blocked off because they had too many holes and weeds growing up in the middle of the street. We got streets blocked off. And some more of them, weeds are growing up in the middle of the
So
street.
just bear with us, maybe some blessings that we're not looking for will happen, okay?
When prayers go up, blessings come down.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, did you have?
Madam Councilwoman, this is a little late because I was trying to get attention when Chief Hubbard was speaking. And if the answer came, I missed it. He made mention of the need for a 911 feasibility study. And my question is, does the city have staff equipped to do a feasibility study of that nature? Or is it necessary to hire someone to do such a job? Chief? Can you speak to that?
In my opinion, if we do it, looking at this document that I have here, from Fairview Heights and O'Fallon and Shiloh, if we do it, in my opinion, and that's not mine, I think we need to hire somebody to do it, because we do have a staff, but even our staff, we've being spread thin, based on the information gathered here. I mean, but that's not my call to make, because even with the funds to do that, but for something of this magnitude, we do need a feasibility study, but how we do it, that's something that we need to discuss with council.
But without a feasibility study, how are we likely to get any money without being able to show that we need this collaboration with the other communities? I mean, you can't just say we need it.
Correct.
At least not when I work for the federal government. But anyway, so it seems to me that you gotta have a feasibility study so that you have some kind of documentation to show that it's advantageous for the citizens of East St. Louis to combine arms with the other communities. Enough said there, I'm gonna sit down.
Good evening to the mayor and council and to everyone here. I had a question in reference to your cost, in reference to everything you were saying, the feasibility, what it would cost. Was the labor or installation and all that included in the 212 or 235,000? Because you just said a price, but you didn't say if everything was included.
Everything is
It's gonna be
included
some
in that definitely. Everything is included in that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. And it's gonna be included with the dispatchers going to Regis?
That's just the generator now.
Right. And I'm just asking the question to complete it with the dispatchers that you're gonna keep, or you're gonna train, when you train somebody else, wait.
Okay.
Are they gonna go to Illinois State Police and then go to St. Louis to Regis? Because I did the same thing.
I
But
think
that's
we're
a
on
cost.
2 different pages. We're on 2 different pages. You're assuming that we are spending our time trying to get the cost for a 911 system independently.
An in brand new system, like you said.
What
That's
the
what I mean.
generator, being a brand new system, is for an emergency that may crop up citywide, but that will keep City Hall afloat
That's
and
right.
our other emergency entities. It is not, your home may not have lights if the lights go out, but it won't be like the '83 flood when everything was
But
black.
Ms. Moore, you forgot I was a dispatcher for a
That's
long
right,
time.
you were down.
Okay, so that's why I can ask you the
no.
question I'm asking.
No.
Because we went through all of the classes, and I know if you're gonna get the generator, then you gotta step down to the next level or up to the next level. Is that gonna include the cost for the dispatchers to be trained for Regis and for state? Even though you're getting a generator to keep the system here.
They're gonna be training whoever is going to operate the generator. It was our understanding that they would be trained for that. Will the dispatchers be trained? I don't know. You have to ask the police chief or the fire chief, because they're the ones who have dealt with the generator per se. My point is, we need that generator.
Real bad.
With or without